Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm here to do just a little intro into my Create Your Own Readathon vlog, which is a readathon that's happening this weekend, or will be this past weekend by the time this video goes up. And Create Your Own Readathon is a monthly readathon that's created by and hosted by Sarah of Not Just Romance Novels, and it's for 2 days on the weekend, and you get to choose your own goals for the readathon. So whether if that's a number of pages, if that's a number of books, if that's a number of hours, if that's a number of formats, whatever it is, you get to choose. So everyone can do it, and everyone gets to do it in their own way, but we still get to all do it together, which is awesome. I love all of that. I love all of that. But I thought it is actually Friday before the readathon is going to begin, but I am going to be hanging out with my sisters tonight, and so and actually staying over at my sister's, so I don't know if I'll be able to film while I'm there, so I thought I'd just do a little intro into the things that I'm consistently reading, because I know that these are two things that I will be reading, because there's two books I'm working on right now. Well, there's lots of books on my TV, I'm currently reading, but the two books I'm consistently reading are A Storm of Swords, which is the third book in the A Song of Ice and Fire series, which was turned into the TV series of Game of Thrones. So I'm going to be bringing my Kindle, and I'm going to be reading that on there, and I'm also going to be bringing my little notebook for A Storm of Swords, because I actually take notes, because these books are like... a lot happens. If I don't take notes, I don't remember anything. So I'm going to be reading that, and then I'm also going to be reading Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, which I'm buddy reading with Di, and so I am going to bring my little notebook that I've been keeping notes on that with, because that one also has a lot of characters. It's a prequel series to the Mortal Instrument series, and there's a lot of new characters, and there's a lot of like, what the heck is going on kind of stuff going on with that one, so I take notes on that as well. I don't normally take notes on books, it just so happens that those two books I take notes on, so I'm taking my notebooks and my Kindle with me in Christmas colors to my sisters, and if I can, I will film tonight. Otherwise, I will come back tomorrow and share what I read and what my plan TBR for reels in addition to this will be. I will have to think of what I want it to be. So there you go. I will be back in a second, actually.
Hello, kittens.
This is Scout. Hi, Scout. He's such a beauty. There's a very shy Mr. Escher. Hello, Escher. Hello. Alrighty, it is now Saturday afternoon, and I figured it is time to get my reading goals in check, and I actually thought them up while I was walking home from picking up groceries. I got a little mini grocery haul going on here, just a sort of supplementary one, and yeah, so what I've decided to do is that I recognize that my currently reading list is quite voluminous at the moment, and it usually is. I don't mind reading a lot of things at the same time, but right now I'm up to 19, and I'm actively reading about half of those, and that's a bit much. So my first goal for the weekend is to finish two things. It does not matter what they are, but as long as they're books that I'm already in the middle of, I want to finish two things. Bonus points if I get three, but with two, I'll be happy with that. And then my next goal is just to continue on pace with my buddy reads. So I'm reading Clockwork Angel with Di, and whatever pace we decide to go on, that is the goal. And I'm also reading A Storm of Swords, which is the Read Your Face Off group buddy read, and I've been working on that as 2 chapters a day, which is a good pace for me. Some days I've been doing a little less than that, and it feels like a little pressure to get back to where I was, so I want to stay on the 2 chapters a day. And then beyond that, I think what I actually want to do is, I know this is counterintuitive saying I want to finish stuff, but I want to start a romance novel that I want to read. I want to find a romance novel that I want to read. Is that the right way to say it? I'm in the middle of a whole bunch, and I just sort of dead stopped all of them at some point, and I didn't pick up another one because I feel like I should finish the other ones, but all of them have very specific reasons of why I stopped them. One was too similar to a TV show that I was watching, one was just a little slower pace than was working for me, and one there's a technical issue with the file, and like with the experience of reading it on the Kindle that's driving me bananas. So I'm just not going to that book. So at some point I'm just going to sit down either with my Kindle or my spreadsheet or go to my shelf because I have some unwrapped romance novels there and just find something that feels like a good fit, because I haven't read a romance novel for quite some time now and I miss it. I miss it. If you follow me on Instagram, I do share my reading tracking habits spreadsheet, not spreadsheet, it's graph paper, old school spreadsheet. And I do it's color coded by genre, and pink is romance. And you'll notice there is no pink. There is absolutely no pink on my September sheet at all, like none. So I want to find something that I want to read, and I don't know, there's lots of different strategies. I could go with an author that I'm really, fond of, or a really short novel, or I don't know, but for some reason I have not had the staying power to stay with one, and it's not working for me. So that's going to be my goal, one of my goals for this weekend. So that's a non-traditional, I guess, kind of goal. Maybe I'll try a chapter or do a randomizer. I don't know. Just do something to get in the groove there, because it's a genre that I really love and I haven't been reading it. So there you go. Those are my reading goals for the day. I also am going to be hanging out with my sister, and we're going to be watching Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. So that's going to be really fun and is kind of reading related. So yeah, and so I'll hopefully be able to share some of that when Team comes by, and yeah, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I really can't wait. So there you go. Those are my goals, and I will check in as things progress and hopefully get lots of reading done. So we'll see what happens. So I'm just going to take a look on Goodreads. Wow, that's so bright. That's so bright. And oh no, I'm so dark, and I got a spot on my nose. I don't know how I did that. Anyway, I am going to take a look at Goodreads and just sort it by page number and see what short books I am currently reading. So let's take a look. Okay, so I've pulled up my currently reading list on Goodreads, my massive 19 titles of currently reading list. And just in case you haven't done this before, if what you can do is you just click settings, and there's a whole bunch of different parameters you can sort by. And I'm curious about the number of pages for the books that I'm reading. And now I'm going to sort them from, I think it starts with shortest to longest. It might be longest to shortest. So there you go. Now I have my shortest books at the top. Okay, so this book doesn't have an entry, so that hasn't been entered. The shortest book on my currently reading list is Waiting for Godot, which I had totally forgot that I had been reading, and I'm about halfway through, so I only have about 60 pages of that. And I look at that, I have 4 books that are under 200 pages. I should definitely be able to finish 2 of those over the weekend. Or maybe even this one, which is slightly more. Oh, or maybe even that one. I've been reading a lot of nonfiction right now. So yeah, so that is one way you can sort stuff on Goodreads. You can add more parameters, like that aren't the default parameters, like, what else would I add? I don't use number of ratings. But then once you sort by something else, then you'll lose it. So if I sort by the number of ratings, I will lose the page number. I think you can add them to be permanently always there, but I've never been able to figure that out. I just choose what I want in the moment, sort it, and then I use that. So yeah, so Waiting for Godot, I think, will be at least one of the picks I choose to finish. Woohoo! That's exciting! Yay! So just updating my reading tracking from yesterday, and I read 143 pages. Although it's weird because first all of these were after midnight, but I still consider it Friday. So I don't know if I consider them for the readathon or not. I think I'll say no for now, and I'll consider all of my Saturday and Sunday reading as part of the readathon. I'm not sure though. Anyway, but I just realized I probably could have also looked at this because it's a very clear visual indicator of what I'm reading, although there's not much in here. I feel like maybe I could finish except for the same ones, actually. Waiting for Godot, I have about half left. Little Book of Style, I have about half left. And Wind, Sand, and Stars, I have about half left, but this is a pretty slow read. It was written in 1930s, and it's translated from the French, so it's a bit slow. So I don't know. And this is only stuff that I've read some of it from this month. So I don't know if that's a better indicator than Goodreads. I think Goodreads might be a little bit better. So, but yeah, so we'll see what happens. I know I should probably like, do some reading, but I kind of just feel like watching some YouTube. I made a tea. I updated my tracking spreadsheet, or it's not spreadsheet, my tracking in my, it's not really a bullet journal because it's just for my reading tracking. Wow, YouTube taking a while to load. And I think I'm probably just gonna watch some YouTube. I see Rincey has a new video, as does Manga Hoarder, and my sister Jamie's got a new video. So, I'm probably gonna just watch some YouTube. I will eventually get to some reading. I promise. I promise. I did some this morning. Well, I actually decided to do a little bit of reading before watching YouTube. It was hard, but I did. And I actually picked up As Kingfisher's Cat Fire by Alex Preston and Neil Gower, and this is actually a nonfiction book about birds and birds in books. See, it says birds, books and birds. And so it talks about different birds and then their representation in books and has quotes from books and stuff like that. And it also has absolutely gorgeous illustrations to start each chapter. There's the swift flying over the Seine. Is that how you say it? The Seine in Paris? So yeah, I started this ages ago. It has really short chapters, which is always a really good break book for me, like to do a little bit and then read a little bit and do a little bit. So I think I'm gonna like read about a few different birds and then watch some videos and then read about some birds and watch some videos. That is what I'm telling myself. But for now, what I decided to do is I was around page 80, and so I just read about 3 different birds. I think the swift, the peacock, and one other bird. And now I'm at a page 100. So I always like page goals work for me. So now I'm at 100. I'm past the halfway point, and so I can hopefully just keep chipping away at this one. So maybe it's one I'll finish this weekend. I don't know. Maybe. Hopefully. Hey everyone, I am here with my sister Susie.
Hello.
And we are going to watch Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. And you've seen it before, right?
Yeah.
I have not. I hope it's better than Pride and Prejudice.
I think it is.
You think it is?
Oh yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of Pride and Prejudice, so
yeah. Zombie time!
Zombie cats!
Woo! Oh, totally messed it. Oh, I don't want to read the thing. I read the thing. I didn't mean to read it. I read part of it. I think I mostly saw Elizabeth Bennet. That part I knew going in.
For the ultimate battle between the living and the undead has yet to be staged.
It is now Sunday morning. The coffee is on, and I'm looking forward to coffee today. I forgot to come back after the movie when me and Susie watched Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. It was a lot of fun. I actually thought the Pride and Prejudice elements were a bit stronger than the zombie elements, but that's what I was more focused on because I had just read the book, so I was really looking at it from that perspective. And it was a lot of fun overall. I really liked the cast. I didn't realize it was Sam Riley. And there were other people in it that I didn't realize, and there was one person in it that I didn't recognize at all. But I thought they actually pulled great elements from the story and told it pretty well, and so I appreciated that. And then the zombie stuff was, of course, fun too. So now I'm just waiting for coffee. This morning I was reading Waiting for Godot, and I easily could have finished it, except for I just want a coffee. So it's just like, let's start the day. So I only got about 20 pages of this. I have about 40 left, and then I also read 2 chapters of Clockwork Angel, which I am buddy reading with Di, and but I didn't get to my Game of Thrones reading, my Storm of Swords chapters. I was just too tired. I'm actually really tired and really sore because I've had a lot of activity in the past couple of days. I'm even wearing my glasses, and that's because I know I'm going to fall asleep multiple times today. Not just one time, but probably multiple times. So I'm not sure how my reading is going to go on days like this where I need a lot of rest and I'm really in a sort of, moderate to significant amount of discomfort. I never know how it's going to go, whether I'm going to get a lot of reading done, or whether or not I'll have the focus for it. To be honest, I'm a little not confident that I will be able to get a lot of reading done, but I think I can, at the very least, finish 40 pages of Waiting for Godot. And I would really like to stick to my plan, which is to finish 2 things. So finish that, one more thing, and start a romance novel. I think I can do that. And I think I'm just going to pile the books that I'm reading beside me and just grab my coffee and lie down and just keep reading. And then I'll fall asleep, and then I'll get more coffee, and then I'll keep reading. So that's sort of the plan. I will actually update my reading habit tracker thing to see how many pages it was yesterday, because I'm not sure. Yeah, and sort of take it from there. So we will see how things go. So I'm just sitting down to update my reading tracking. So I have my books with me and my bullet journal-y goodness and my coffee and pencil crayons, because it's all color-coded, so you gotta make the color coding happening. Still early in coffee day. So I've now added the pages from the books I read yesterday to my September tracking, and so here we go. So the first section is my September TBR books, and I read some of Clockwork Angel, so I added about 40 pages there. And then I actually had to add As Kingfishers Catch Fire to this page. I didn't have it. I started it last month and haven't read it this month at all, so it got added in. I've already read the beginning of it, so I just started where were new pages to me, and I filled in the ones that I read there. And then over here, I also read some of Waiting for Godot, so I added a few pages there, and the Little Black Book of Style, I added a few pages there, and then I have the grand total, which really isn't all that grand, but you know, is 105 pages from yesterday, and so those are the different blocks of the different pages. So, and of course, I also added my Create Your Own Readathon section. So those are my goals for the Create Your Own Readathon, to finish 2 books, so, and possibly 3. 3's a bonus, so 2 blocks for 2 books, and I'll fill those in when I finish a book. And then also I want to start a romance novel, so I will fill that heart in when I start a romance novel. So there you go. That's a little overview of my reading tracking, and we'll see how the day goes. Okay, it is still pretty early in the day on Sunday, or well, I took my glasses off, so I can't read the I can't read the clock. I think it's around noon. Anyway, I didn't get to my Storm of Swords chapters last night, so I actually decided to read them now and start the day off that way. And I think that was a really good choice, because they were 2 pretty short chapters, and the next chapter looks like it's really long. So that will end up perfectly. And then I read 2, and then I'll probably just do 1 tonight, and that actually works out, because after I read that one, I can check in with the Read Your Face Off group, so that really works. And I also have just a pile of books beside me. I have Waiting for Godot, I have my tablets, I have As Kingfishers Catch Fire, and some other books. And I also wouldn't mind getting to some of the shipping news, which is one of the books that those books that I am trying to read. I keep on not getting to it. It's really good. It's more literary fiction. And I guess I tend to read more genre fiction and nonfiction, and so I don't always get to the literary stuff. But I think I honestly might be choosing stuff that's literally light, like physically light, because my hands are hurting a little bit. I don't know if it's from vlogging or from what. So I'm gonna go with lighter choices. I am charging my Kindle, and so I might be doing some Kindle reading, because as much as I would really love to, and I think I could probably finish As Kingfishers Catch Fire, but this book is really, really, it's a heavy hardback, and you know, I'm halfway through, and I could read, like, I don't know, I think there's probably about 10 more Byrds in it, and it's a good one to like read 1 or 2 and then do something else and switch back in and out. But my hands are just like not super convinced that that's the best idea. So I think next I'm going to go with Waiting for Godot, because I only have about, I don't know, not very much left, and it's really funny. It's really wild to read a play that's comedic, and even a lot of the comedy is physical, so there's lots of stage directions and descriptions of what they're doing. So I think I'll go with this next, and then I will finish something, which is one of my goals. So let's go with that. Let's go with that. All right, I've officially finished Waiting for Godot. It was really funny, and I'm really impressed and surprised I was able to get a lot of the humor. I don't do the best with humor, and especially because a lot of this was physical humor, but because there were so many stage directions, I was able to figure it out. So yeah, yay! First book done. Now I need to decide what to read next. Not sure. This book is really heavy, but it's also really pretty. Okay, I have finished another book. I finished reading The Little Black Book of Style by Nina Garcia. This is a nonfiction book about fashion and style, and oh, there, well, my Kindle Fire wants to turn off. And yeah, I started reading this earlier this week, and I read it through Scribed, and I'm really glad that I read it through Scribed because it's a very quick read, and I feel like I got some stuff from it, but not tons from it. Like she has a sort of like section on like the 10 basic things you need, but it's like if you've read any fashion article on the 10 basic things you need, it's pretty similar. But she does have a great section towards the end that she talks to different designers and fashion icons and it's like sort of like mini interviews. Sort of she asks them like 3 to 5 questions about style and, you know, recommendations and what people should do in certain situations or what people wear in certain situations or what mistakes people make. So that section I actually found quite interesting, although she didn't always give context for who the person was, and I found that a little frustrating because if I knew who it was and it was a designer, that's one thing, but sometimes they're like I didn't know. So, you know, my favorite was Iman because Iman, gotta love Iman. So anyway, I felt like I got stuff from it and it's making me think about style, which is one of the things that I'm working on right now for myself. But there were a lot of things that I felt like aren't applicable for me individually, but it's not about like how to find your own style. It's like, okay, let's start from 101. This is what you need. And some of those things are not applicable to me, but it did remind me that this is a way you can structure your wardrobe. And although I'm not necessarily going to go with exactly the things that she recommends, like one of them I think is a trench coat, and I'm like, that's just not something I'm gonna have. But should I have a sort of between seasons coat that can sustain the rain? Yes, something for in Toronto terms, that would be something for like November and April. Yeah, that should be a basic. I should have something that works for that. So it got like everything. It's kind of frustrating when something's like a 101, but then you feel like you have to tweak everything. But I don't mind that. And to be honest, I like for me, a lot of this is not unfamiliar, but I did also study fashion, so I'm not coming without some background information here. So I think for me the reason why I read it was to get the ball rolling, and it's got me thinking. So that's a good thing. So that was the second book that I finished today, and the day is still pretty young-ish. I think it's like 3, so there's still a fair amount of time left, so maybe I can get something else in as well. That'd be exciting. Alrighty, it is time for lunch break, so I have my lunch of some salad and carrots and crackers and cheese and sunflower seeds and tea, and that might be like one thing too many, but oh well, it is the weekend. Anyway, I'm gonna take a bit of a break and watch some Dark Shadows. I think I was joking recently about how like almost nothing ever happens on the show, but the last episode I watched was so dramatic that I have to like watch the next episode. Usually I watch it while I'm multitasking, but this time I'm like, I gotta watch what happens. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm going to choose one of these 4 romance novels to check out. I don't know which one it'll be yet. I can't decide if I want to go for something super short or a series I'm already reading, or I don't know, but first, Dark Shadows. Here they are, 4 choices, and I am not sure which one to go with. This is like rock climbing, something goes wrong. This is second chance romance, I think. They knew each other 10 years ago, and now there's a big mystery that they have to solve. This is small town girl moves to the city, wants to have some fun, and this is one that's like well into a series, 7 or 8 books, werewolf shifter series. So those are the contenders. I think I'm going to post it on Instagram and or Twitter and see if anyone has any strong recommendations one way or the other, because I don't know what to choose. We shall see what happens. Okay, from the 4 choices for romance novels. Becky from Beck's Books suggested Rock Solid based on the cover alone, and like, for serious, why not? And Sarah from Not Just Romance Novels recommended Vicki Lewis Thompson, Always. And I did recently read something by her, so those are both good contenders, so we're gonna put those out of the way, and I am going to try a chapter of each of these and see which will be my next romance read. First up will be Rock Solid. Okay, so I've read the first chapter of Rock Solid by Jennifer Greene, and this one follows a successful businesswoman who forces herself to go to a outdoorsy retreat because she's been having some anxiety attack type stuff, and she's forcing herself to get better through nature. And so the guy obviously works at the resort type thing, and it's funny because some of it's funny. I actually, because I live in the city, I appreciate the humor of like, nature, what, huh? And that kind of stuff. So I appreciate that. But some of the stuff that it's thrown a lot into the story in just one chapter, with anxiety and some of her backstory, and so it's kind of weird, but I do like the two leads who already met each other and there's good chemistry, so that's always a promising start. And it is really short. This one is only 180 pages long, so definitely a contender. So we shall see. So now I'm going to, I don't even know where the other book is. Oh, here it is. It's upside down. It's all the way around. So I'm going to check out Acting on Impulse by Vicki Lewis Thompson and see if this one can beat Rock Solid for my romance read pick. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so I've read a little bit of Acting on Impulse. This one actually has a prologue that's like 3 pages long, 5 pages long, and then I started into the first chapter too, but I'm like, I realize why I don't do try a chapter tags is because I get all of the characters blurred. So I think this one's actually kind of like the reverse of Rock Solid because it features a country girl who is going to move to the city, and her friend already did, and her friend's already there and married, and now it sounds like she's going to move to the city, although their initial plan was to move there together. And then her friend who got married, her husband has a friend, and will they, won't they try and set them up and stuff like that. So it is kind of the reverse. So it's like country girl going to the city as opposed to a city girl going to the open air. I don't remember if they said country and Rock Solid. Anyway, so I think I'm going to put this one aside for now. It does sound really good, although both of the two characters that are going to be set up seem a little bitter. So that's not quite working for me right now. So I feel like more centered. I feel like I'm already quite centered in the Rock Solid, so I'm going to continue with that. So that's going to be my romance read. Yay! Decision made! So exciting. Now I'm going to read chapter 2. One more book finished, As Kingfishers Catch Fire, Books and Birds by Alec Preston and illustrated by Neil Gower. Or they're paintings. He says they're paintings. And they are gorgeous. Oh my gosh. The paintings, like, really got me. And there's one of the crows that, the barn owl. Isn't that gorgeous? So this actually looks at birds in literature, so poetry, books, nonfiction. Mary Oliver is quoted several times. Classic. Where are the crows? Classic literature. There it is. Wow. So good. But one of the challenges with it is that, if you haven't read the reference, then you may not want to read the quote, and, especially this one was one where I did that with the Goldfinch, because he does talk about the Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, which I haven't read, and I don't think I will. Was it The Secret History? I started one of those two and decided I wasn't going to read it. So anyway, but I haven't read the Goldfinch, so I had to skip over that little bit because I'm very sensitive to spoilers. So anyway, but this was still very enjoyable read, and it was interesting to see all the literary references, and again, I was just loving the illustrations so much. Skylark, it's so beautiful. So there you go, one more book done. Woohoo! And with one more book read, I am going to relax now for a little bit and play some Tomb Raider. It's not the super new one. It's like the one from last year or whatever. But I haven't played it, so it's new to me, and I am really enjoying it. So, time for some gaming.
Are you there? Damn it. Where is he?
Alrighty, well, I think I'm going to call it for tonight, or at least call it for vlogging for tonight. I am going to continue reading. I will read my 2 chapters of Clockwork Angel, which is my buddy read with Di, and I'll also read some of Storm of Swords. I think I'm only going to read 1 chapter tonight. It looks like a long one, so I think I'll just leave it at 1. And I'm going to continue my romance book, which is somewhere over there, and I can't remember what it is, rock hard, rock solid, rock something, I don't know. So I'm going to continue reading that probably as well, and I will come back tomorrow and do a wrap up a little bit, not like more like just like the tally to see how I did, but I did achieve my goals, which was to finish 2 titles and to start a romance novel. I actually finished 3 titles, so bonus points. But I think now I'm going to relax and watch some YouTube. I'm going to check out Elizabeth from Lizzie Faye Loves Books. She is actually put up a video about Create Your Own Readathon. Look at that! September, October reading plans and Create Your Own Readathon. So I'm definitely going to check that out. And she also just hit 1,200 subscribers. So congratulations to Elizabeth. That's quite a landmark. So yeah, so I think I'm going to relax. I'm going to watch some YouTube. I'm going to have some dinner and probably watch some Vikings and eventually get to reading. But for now, I think I'm going to just chill out for a bit. And yeah, and I'll come back tomorrow with the numbers and we'll see how I did. Yay! So it is now Monday and I am sitting down to take a look with my books and my tracking and my pencil crayons to see how I did and see what the final tally is. I'm not sure. I know I finished a fair amount of books, but I have no idea how many pages I read, so that'll be interesting to see. Alrighty, I have now entered in the books that I have read yesterday into my tracking, and so I've added pages to A Storm of Swords, I've added pages to A Clockwork Angel, I ended up finishing As Kingfishers Catch Fire, and also finishing The Little Book of Style, as well as waiting for Godot. So 3 finishes, and I started Rock Solid, my romance novel, so I actually met my goals. I am so happy! Woohoo! So there you have it. I am thrilled with how things went. I finished more books than I expected, and actually probably more pages than I expected. And if you're interested in the page count, it was actually 428 pages overall. I decided actually to exclude Friday night's reading because I included Sunday night's reading. Both were after midnight, but I think they can't pretty much cancel each other out. So yeah, so I'm really happy with how things went. I really would love to hear how your Create Your Own Readathon went. If you did a vlog or a video or a TBR or a wrap-up or any of that good stuff, let me know because I would love to check it out. And I look forward to doing this again. Of course, a big thank you to Sarah from Not Just Romance Novels for creating and hosting this readathon. I think it is a fabulous idea. I always love that. I always love when we can do things together, even if we do them differently. That is one of my favorite things in the entire world. So I'm really happy that I participated and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, so there you go. Till next time.